Foreign Minister will be leaving us now. I just got a message of appreciation when you visited South Africa to engage with victims of xenophobia attacks. Madam Ayoko Botwe, we've got a message here from Ghanaians in South Africa who are just appreciating you when you visited in South Africa to engage with the victims of the xenophobic attacks. So they are very much appreciative of your actions, and they are here. They wanted to say thank you to you. All right. So she leaves us right now, but we do have questions for the gender minister. Are these gender questions? These are all gender questions. Can I take a few? Or you want to answer the ones we have first? Let's answer the ones you have first. All right.
I have about 8 questions here. Let me try and answer them.
The director of passports is here, so if there are any questions, he can field those questions for you. Thank you. Where is the director? Just raise your hand, Mr. Director. Fantastic. You're welcome. The right man.
Okay.
I'd like to invite you up to the stage, Mr. Director of Passports. Is that a good idea?
Somebody asked a question about why women don't support other women and how we can do that. It's about changing attitudes. When the crab is in the bucket, you see that as one tries to go up, then one is pulling the other one down. The PhD, pull him or her down. The men will get the women to work against the woman in leadership, and the women themselves too sometimes would do that. So there's this adage that women are our own worst enemies. But must it be a reality? We have to change our ways. If there's a woman in leadership, she represents the rest of us who are not there. So we need to change attitudes that women need a safety net so that we can move up. Also, because there aren't enough women in leadership positions, it's like those who are already there don't have that cushion. And because we are new at it, of course we'll get it wrong. But who says that the men have been getting it right? There's no education for that. So practice makes perfect. As we move on with time, I believe that women will get better at it, especially with the men supporting the women. And we are going to launch a He for She campaign in November so that we have the men on board and working together as one family unit. There was a question about access to public places. In the MPP manifesto, we said that by the grace of God, if we got to power, we will ensure that all public institutions will be realigned to be accessible. That means that old places, how are we going to provide access? And then the new ones, it's easier. Every new public building should have access to for persons with disability. And that as well will be done in partnership with private partners. So those of you who know how to build, how to design, and all of those things, you can come and we'll discuss how we can partner with each other to provide more access to for persons with disability. The Kaya phenomenon. You want to know after training. Yes, we last year trained 400 girls. And we have their names, and we've spoken to some of the fast food joints, those who did catering, and they are prepared to engage some of them. Others too, we're looking at getting them internship and openings at the hotels and guest houses. And those who study secretariatship or computer studies with the various public ministries, we want to work with them so that they can engage them. We've actually written to some of these institutions to begin to engage them, because there's no point in learning a trade when you cannot get a job. But you have to bear with us. There's so many people who are not employed. And so we cannot absorb everybody that we train. The others, we give them a startup. And if you come out of this room to your right, at the back of the exhibitors, you'll see a stand, Ministry of Gender. And you'll see some very nice hats, fascinators, slippers made of beads that have been made by the Kayaye. And we give them the startup to be able to help them, and they can start their own little enterprises, what we call cottage industry, and then it can be developed into one district, one factory. And in terms of social marketing, we'll link you up with them, sorry, so that how we market their things in Ghana and outside will also help to empower them. The other thing you asked about the Kayaye, those who are in the rural, the countryside, how do we keep them there? The SHS initiative, we want every child of school-going age to be in school. So that is a program that we are embarking on to map and have a database of all the Kayaye in Accra and in the cities, Kumasi and in Takoradi. Helping to get partners to have sleeping places. Somebody asked about that. So that there is a partnership to develop hostels, just like you have the YMCA in places, or hostels that are affordable, especially during the rainy season. If we don't have the education as well as income generating activities in the countryside, especially the 3 northern regions where the girls come from, it will be a bottomless pit. So it is a law that every child of school-going age since 1992, what we call the F-Cube, free compulsory universal basic education, every child must be in school. But people have the excuse of poverty, that because of that, or they have to pay fees. Well, now education is free from basic up to SHS, so there are no more excuses. And we will do the monitoring, working with the opinion leaders, traditional rulers, Ministry of Local Government and Education, to ensure that we are able to reduce the numbers and even bring a stop to it, so that every child of school-going age can be in school. Children hawking is an indicator that all is not well in Ghana and that we have a lot of work to do. It's still part of people abusing the law. There is a law in Ghana from the Children's Act 560 that a child of school-going age who is not in school, the parents commit an offense, or the carers. People do not know that there is a fine of 500 Ghana cedis or 1 year imprisonment or both. And we need to send that message out. We have a lot of policies to protect children, but the enforcement is lacking. And that is what we have to do, working hand in hand with the various parents and the community leaders to ensure that there is a follow-up. And with GES, if you have a register that shows that OTIKO should be in school, for 1 week OTIKO does not come for classes, somebody should go to her home and find out why she's not in school. Has she been trafficked? Has she been married off? Is she sick? There could be any reason, but that follow-up is what is lacking and what we are going to engage in. How to connect the various beneficiaries who are producing the fabric that you see me wearing, the dawadawa and the shea butter. That's why we've invited you here. And from here, I would like you to visit the stands. And then in the evening, when we close from here, that's 5 o'clock to 7:30, we are organizing what I call Meet the North and Experience a New World. We'll have it this evening as a fashion show of all the different styles that you can use the fabric for, and the different beads and the jewelry, as well as the handbags and shoes and slippers that we are making, and the other products that we are adding value in terms of the oils and the creams and the soaps. So you are all invited to come this evening. It's upstairs on the right-hand side behind our stand. you climb up the stairs, and then we'll have a very nice evening experiencing the North. How to keep rural people, I've answered that. What is this one? Access to ministers. Yes, I am here. I cannot be in the office. Yesterday, I had to come here, go to local government to make a speech, meet a number of people, ambassadors and so forth in my office, and then go for cabinet. That did not end until 2 a.m. And I'm here again. It's impossible to meet everybody, and it's impossible to answer all the calls. If ministers are going to answer phone calls, then we will not get any work done. So I'll propose that you send texts and emails. And it's not possible to see you if one has to be in another engagement. It doesn't matter how many times you come. If the minister is not in office, they are not in office. And you have to learn to be tolerant. If it's urgent, you send an email or a text, or this beautiful thing called the WhatsApp, so that we can link up with you. Another form of linkage in terms of the social marketing is online marketing. We are going to establish websites for the LEAP beneficiaries and persons who are vulnerable, so that, well, the internet is the gateway now. So they can market their stuff, and you can also connect through the ministry. Whatever products that you want and the quantities that you need, we'll be able to link you up so that somebody doesn't cheat somebody. And then we are both happy, so that there is a win-win situation. The development of a nation is not easy. It's a collective responsibility of how you will work with us and how we will work with you to the benefit of all of us and the country Ghana. Are there any other questions? Hey, some more. And so I can only take about 5 more questions, and I have to go because I have a meeting at 12.
Don't worry.
Sorry.
Don't worry. Just put it under.
I'm going to drink this.
Yeah, there's a question about sexual harassment. There's a gentleman there who says he has 3.
Hello. Honorable Minister, my name is Dr. Kwabena Adansi Pipim. I live in the Netherlands. I've lived there for 27 years. I'm a social therapist. I've worked in the area of HIV/AIDS for almost 20 years. I'm happy you mentioned the issue of vulnerability. And I think today, if I'm allowed, I will call you the Minister for the vulnerables. Honorable Minister, I think the issue of vulnerability is an issue which should be addressed in a broad perspective. It's not only the women being trafficked, but there are also boys who are being trafficked, for your information. And probably it's the time that you link your information with your Minister of Foreign Affairs. I'm sorry that, probably unfortunate that she has left. Because down there, we have so many people who are vulnerable.
What's the question, sir?
My question is, when it comes to vulnerables in Europe, people with mental problems, people with HIV/AIDS, people in prisons, these vulnerable activities are being coordinated in Europe. How is your ministry coordinating your problem? In which case, those of us in Diaspora, how are you helping us to address these issues?
Thank you.
Are you coordinating it with Europe, or for that matter, with the Netherlands? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Listen, we are almost 2 hours behind schedule. In the name of the Almighty Father, in the name of the Almighty Father, please, 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 please. I suggested that if you have any questions, you direct them to the Secretariat. She will answer all the questions. We'll put the responses on the website. But I beg you, I'm on my knees. I can get down right now on my knees and beg you. We are so flat out of time. Please, I know I'm going to be your biggest enemy, but please, please, I beg you. I beg you. I beg you so much. Madam Minister, I'll have to even say no to you with respect. I beg you. My bosses are on my necks. So this question, and there's a question of sexual harassment. There's a gentleman who has 3 nieces at home. They can't go to work because anytime they go out, people want to sleep with his nieces. And he wants to know what we are doing in Ghana to stop this. That's it.
All right. In terms of sexual harassment, it's the same thing. It's education. People don't know that we have these rights and that they should not be abused. Others know and they pretend not to know. So, if somebody is harassing you, we have the DOFSO, you can go and report it. We have the police, you can go and report it. We are also setting up a single entry communication center for rapid response so that wherever you are in Ghana, you can call a hotline in terms of whatever problem that you have, and then there will be people to respond to it. We'll be launching it very soon, and the numbers will be given out to you. Everybody needs to know that they have rights and responsibilities. And the various people who abuse the law must know that there are fines and punitive measures. You cannot take advantage of somebody because they are not your daughter or your sister. But you must understand that your daughter, your sister, your wife could also be working for somebody and they could face that same action. What you don't want to be done to your own, you don't do to another. But we will be organizing aggressive media programs on television and radio and the information mobile vans to address quite a number of all these social issues. We cannot finish them in one day. We will keep going on until we finish. But as it is, we are all part of the problem, and so we should be part of the solution. So it's important that you can also set up, centers in this country. You can also organize media programs. And these days, the online, the WhatsApp, you can even tweet a message that will encourage somebody or will let somebody understand issues about their rights or why they should not be abusing anybody's rights. And it's not only about sexual harassment. There is physical and psychological harassment. In terms of coordination of persons who are vulnerable, the ministry is the office that is mandated to handle all the vulnerable people, the disadvantaged, the persons with disability, aged above 65, lactating mothers with children under 2. We are even including widows and victims of fistula or hemophilia patients, breast cancer, and all of that. To do that, we have policies, gender policies, social protection policies, child and family welfare policies. All of these policies have been established by the ministry. Now we have to implement them. Human trafficking, we've just finished validating our national plan of action, and we are going to be rolling it out across the nation. On the 11th, if you are still here, we are going to launch the Blue Day on the 11th, and then on the 30th of this month, we are celebrating it to tell people to stop human trafficking. With the prisons, this year for Father's Day, I personally went with some of our ministers, the regional minister and the MP for Nsawam, to the Nsawam prisons to interact with the prisoners and to encourage them and see how best we can make their lives more livable. But understanding that they put there because they've committed a crime. How do we help them come back to the society in terms of reformment and seeing how their sentences can be reduced? So these are some of the things that we do. In terms of the Kaya, I've already told you that we organize trainings for them and help them to get employment. With the persons with disability, we took about 15 persons with disability to the UN to raise awareness concerning their rights, and we are going to develop a TV and radio show for persons with disability to explain that it is not about their disability, but their abilities. We are also coming up with, we just finished our work plans to do a mapping and databases of all vulnerable people in Ghana, so that we know how many people are on the streets begging. No child of Ghana should beg. But you are aware that begging is now a profession. People hire children or others to take them out there to beg, and some of them are quite wealthy from the begging. But it is an eyesore, and so the education of it, and we have rehabilitation and income generating skills, skills training centers for persons with disability in various regions. We're going to, after the mapping and identification, get them into those institutions to train them, and those who are of school-going age will go back to school. It's the same with the streetism. We have a go back home program where we reintegrate them with their families, and those who are old enough can get involved in skills training, because a lot of them get hit by cars, and living on the street is no place for children. We cannot finish this conversation for as long as there is life, and we are signed on to the Sustainable Development Goals agenda to eradicate poverty, eradicate hunger, and ensure that every child is educated and healthy. We have to work together as a partnership. Some of you are interested in the aged. Come and let's discuss it. You make an appointment, and then we see how we can link up in terms of private partnership, the licensing, and what have you. Rome was not built in a day. Ghana is 60 years old, and we will get on until we get it right. Thank you very much. And the last thing is, don't forget the fashion show. Come and experience the North. 5 to 7:30. The First Lady will be here with us this evening. Have a wonderful stay. Thank you.
Madam Minister, thank you very much. Before you go, when does Ghana get a female president? That was a question.
Why? Now. The time is now. Madam Nana Kunedu Ajimai Rollins, she tried to contest. Ekuya Donko tried to contest. Yes, so it means that the time is right. Once you are asking the question, it means you are ready. Organize yourselves. What is it that a man can do that a woman cannot do? What a man can do, a woman can do, and do it better. So, it's up to you. You are ready. Go for it. Thank you.
Thank you. I was going to ask who, but we'll leave that for another time. Thank you very much, Minister for Gender and Children.